Welcome to Heavy Gear Blitz. This is a game of miniatures combat set on the far distant planet of Terra Nova. For the last 1,000 years, the Terra Novans have lived without Earth's control. There are three major zones of the planet: the North, the South, and the equatorial region known as the Badlands. In the North, there's a confederation called the Confederation of Northern States, which is comprised of three allied nations. In the South, there is the Allied Southern States, which is a conglomerate of small city-states that all work together and defend themselves with a common militia force. In the Badlands, a zone of desert and canyons that covers most of the planet is considered an open zone. Within that area, there are two major factions: Peace River, which is an independent producer of military weapons for the North and the South, and Port Arthur, which are remnants of an Earth invasion force known as the CEF.
Alright guys, this is our setup. As you can see, we have like terrain all over the place. What size field is this? What by what? Like 3 by...
Oh, the table.
Yeah.
Oh. This is 4 feet by 4 feet.
Okay, so this is a 4 by 4, and in the book it recommends 3 by 3. So this is well within what the book recommends as far as what a normal game size. And as you can see, we have 11 guys on the field. And it's pretty cramped at 4 by 4 with 11 guys on the field. Another thing, as you can see here, Heavy Gear is not a what you see is what you get game. As you see right there, the guy, I put the medium autocannon to mark the guy with the medium autocannon. I'll have the list up. I'll post the list up after this section to show you what the list of each individual squad was. And I didn't have time to put the weapons on the guys, so I just put the weapons by the individual guys. You can see that's another medium autocannon. You can see there, that's a frag cannon. And did you want to get the HO scale, guy?
Here's a sample of an HO scale gear versus the Blitz scale. Another thing to consider with the terrain that we're using here, these are all simple items that you can get from anywhere. I use soda bottle lids and cans from around the house and some cardboard. It still is a work in progress, but this is just to help you understand, like, this is all you need.
Yeah, you don't have to spend 50 bucks at the terrain store to get really nice looking terrain. As you can see, just get some household, bare minimum, get some household items, throw some primer on it, and you're
Alright, now we're going to go into dice. This here is a D6. It's a basic die you can get in any board game you own, any game shop you go to you can get. It goes from 1 to 6, and that determines the randomness of your success or failure when you're playing the game. The way it works, you roll the D6, and whatever number comes up is what you use. In this game, you usually use 2D6, and you'll take the best die. So, if you're doing something, in this case, you would take the 4, which would be the shot, or which would be the die roll that counts for whatever it is you're doing, whether it be combat, dodging.
Alright, now we're going to cover initiative. And the way that initiative works is initiative shows who gets to go first or who gets to decide who goes first. Sometimes you might want to go first, sometimes you might want to let your opponent go first. But what you want to do is you and your opponent want to roll 1d6. And what you do is you roll, and then your buddy rolls, and your buddy won the initiative. So he can decide whether you can go first or whether or not he wants to go first. Alright, now we're going to cover movement and cover. And the way that movement works is most vehicles have at least one movement system, and but gears in particular have two movement systems. I don't know if you can see the wheel on the back there, but gears have two movement systems, the walker of course, and then the wheels, or in case of larger gears like the spinning cobra or the grizzly, they would have treads on the bottom of their feet, and each gear would be able to move at combat speed and top speed for each movement type that it has. And what's really awesome is these blitz dice. And the thing with the blitz dice is they help to mark who's moved and who hasn't moved. Now, the thing with the blitz dice is this. You turn it either that way or that way to let you know that you haven't moved the guy yet, and then when you have moved the guy, you move the dice so that the arrow is facing the guy. And you have, as I said, you have walker combat speed, walker top speed, ground top speed, ground combat speed, and ground top speed. You also have, this is what's known of as, this is the move marker for hold down, which is basically the gears behind a piece of terrain and he's trying to hide and he's just sticking his weapon out so that he can shoot the other guy. Or if you're really dumb in heavy gear, you're at a full out stop. Now I don't recommend this unless you're in the back and you're calling in indirect fire, which we won't cover in this video, but in the later video we will cover indirect fire. And you see this, you just would point the arrow at the guy to let him know that you finished moving. Now, the thing with movement is that if the guy's at combat speed, he has to move at least 1 inch. Whether it's walker or ground. And if he's at top speed, he has to move at least the full combat speed, which in the case of the hunter, he would have to move at least 6 inches if he's at top ground speed, because the maximum he can move at combat speed is 6 inches, and you have to move at least 6 inches. You have to at least move the maximum of the combat speed if you're going at top speed, or you have to slow down. Another thing about going top speed is you have to use an action. Now, using the action represents the pilot completely focusing on taking evasive maneuvers. He's trying to maneuver the gear across the battlefield. And if you're going in a full out, trying to hurry up and get from A to B, you're not going to be thinking about shooting the other guy. You're going to be thinking about hurrying up, getting from this point to this point. As opposed to if you were moving at, let's say, combat speed, you'd be moving, but as you're moving, you're thinking about what targets you can shoot at.